Hi buddy, my name is Tamara. Long time no see. For those of you who don't know who I am a coach here at Create Your Future. It has been a while, guys. I'm sorry for not posting any long videos for a while. I was on a sabbatical, if you wish. I was taking care of my family members, but I'm back here with you today. And I want to give you guys an update as well as share a great success story from one of my clients. So today's story is going to revolve around two basic concepts. The first one being no one to change but yourself. And the second being everyone, including everything, is you pushed out, okay? So a little bit of a backstory. I have been working with this client for a while now. Our first session was back in November 2024. And I have to be honest, by the way, I have her full permission for full disclosure. So everything's going to be shared regarding her previous state of being, as well as her current one, and the huge transition she has gone through since our first session in November up until this month. So when we first had our session back in November, she was this very scared, kind of shy young woman who was feeling very down because, as she perceived at the time, she just wasn't feeling worthy of relationships. And at the time, she was experiencing this in her 3D experience, meaning all the guys she had been dating, including her SP, basically told her something in relation to her own self-esteem. Like, I like you, but, or third parties would come up out of nowhere. Guys would act interested and then pull away as she perceived that. So she came to me in November and she said, Tamara, I am on the verge of giving up love, giving up dating, giving up relationships in general. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. I don't know why every time I like somebody, at first they seem interested and then they pull away. I experience third parties. I experience not feeling worthy, not feeling desired and chased. What is happening here? Can you help me? And I said, first and foremost, as you guys probably know, as you're following your channel, and you're probably all on your manifestation journey yourselves, everything revolves around your consciousness, or as Neville called it, your I am, okay? Your God self. Which means all these different states of being, and because I'm a psychologist, I want to call them identities, who you're being basically. They keep changing throughout the day, week, month, meaning you are embodying all these different characters, these different states of being, which generate, by the way, they generate all your feelings, thoughts, fears, doubts, and therefore experiences out in a 3D. Which means, going back to the first premise that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, no one to change but self. If you want to experience something different, you really have to change who you are being. And when I say that, I don't mean just thoughts, feelings here and there, not feeling doubts. No. Going down, going deeper to your identity, to who you are being. What is exactly generating all these negative thoughts, all this doubt, all these negative feelings? When you're being a person who has X, Y, and Z, whatever it is you want to experience in the 3D world, Being that person means I'm going to let, or I'm not going to let, certain thoughts or actions or things happening in a 3D tell me who I am. Tell me what is true for me. And that is huge for most of the people that I have come across. They're like, okay, yeah, I do some scripting. I can do some exercises. I do affirmations. I'm good at visualizations, but nothing's happening. Or, but I'm feeling triggered. Or, but I have been doing this for X, Y, and Z, and worse things have happened. Essentially, yes, you might be practicing the law of assumption, doing some affirmations regarding your desire. And yes, you will definitely see some glimpses of who you say you are out in a 3D. But whether they will stick or not comes back to who you're being. In other words, I can sit here and affirm to myself, my SP loves me, my SP loves me, my SP is crazy about me, my SP thinks about me all the time, my SP misses me, all these wonderful common affirmations. But then, what do I do once I notice my XP hasn't texted me today? Or I hear somebody say my XP was seen with a third party in a club. Or I have the talk with my SP and my SP says something like, well, Tamara, I like you, but I don't think I'm ready for this commitment. Whatever. Who you say you are is going to show up in these circumstances, in these situations the most. How you perceive those unloving circumstances is going to show you exactly who you're being or what state of being you have been occupying predominantly. As I said, we transition across hundreds of different states of being for a day or a week at a time. I'm now in a state of being your coach, which doesn't mean that 10 minutes ago, I was not in a state of being a loving partner. Or yesterday, I was not in a state of being a loving daughter to somebody. Do you get what I mean? It's not about the focus, which is another mistake or trap a lot of people fall into. Okay, so I have to focus on something 24/7 or it won't come true. No. That's not at all how this works. It's not about how long you have been focusing on X, Y, and Z. It's about who you say you are, who you're being, every time you have any kind of business with your desire, with a 3D. So, back to my client. As I said, in November, she was this very timid, scared, and outright depressed young girl who has had enough, and she told me she asked me what we can do to turn this situation around, to change her SP, as she told me. And I told her, and I'm telling you guys, you're not changing your SP unless you change yourselves. Unless you change who you are being, unless you change the identity of the person who is not chaste, not loved, not worthy of love, of relationships, your SP is going to stay exactly the same. Because it was never about your SP, guys. It has always been about you. When I say you, I mean your consciousness. What states of being you have been occupying the most, and what do you accept as truth here in your consciousness? not out there in the 3D. So we started working together. We started exploring these identities, unloving states, as Neville called them. We dug deep to see why she has been feeling and acting that way, and therefore experiencing unloving circumstances out in the 3D with her SP and any other man she had been dating at a time. We talked about her, let's say, her goal, her end goal at that time was her getting back in touch with her SP because her SP was ignoring her. He ghosted her. They had a conversation, which he told her that he wasn't ready for a relationship. He liked her, but the third party popped up. I told her, you have to leave this be. Let it be. Leave this person alone. Stop trying to stalk them on any social media, because that version of your SP is not the version of the SP that's yours and that you should be aware of from now on. Let's put the focus back on you, who you say you are, and what you accept as truth for you. It wasn't easy, guys. It isn't easy, and I'm aware of that. It's not always fast either. Some people take a day to figure this out. Some people it takes them months, like in her case. The bottom line is, the biggest reward you can get in this process is realizing that you truly change who you're being. That you were able to escape this state of victimhood, which is not an easy one to escape either. I worked with her for a couple of months, from November till May. I have to tell you guys, the most rewarding part of working with this young lady is not that she got her SP in the end. She did, we'll come to that. But me seeing a totally different person in front of me in our last session. Compared to our first session in November and our last session at the end of May, this was not the same person I was talking to a couple of months back. It was a legit different woman, essentially different woman. So here is why. We explored states she was occupying at a time, unloving states. Okay, she wasn't feeling worthy. She was feeling like she was looked over. She was feeling like people could not commit to her. She was feeling she has to compete with other people, for third parties, etc. Not just in her private life, professional life as well. We covered all the basics, and I told her, who do you want to be? She said, well, I want to have my SP. I said, okay, yeah, you will have your SP. But before that, I want you to tell me, who do you want to be? What kind of life, what kind of relationship do you want to have? If a person, like a friend, asks you, hey, what's up? What has been happening? What is the first thing that's going to come to your mind? She was like, well, I'm so happy that I finally have relationship with this person. And I'm so finally happy that I can feel so confident and powerful knowing who I am. And I said, excellent. Listen, techniques don't matter, guys. I don't care, and neither should you. Whether you talk to yourself, you affirm here and there, you visualize, you have inner conversation, you hear somebody else telling you this. The bottom line is, you have to become aware of this new person that you are now and accept this as your truth. In her case, she is a self-talker, just like me. So I told her, whenever you feel like you want to remind yourself of who you are, whenever you see something in the 3D that is related to your SP, your experience with relationships, I want you to go back to this truth you just told me. I'm so happy because I can finally feel confident, and I'm so lucky I am finally in a relationship with my person. I want you to think like this person from now on. I want you to feel like this person. And I want you to try and do your best to perceive everything in the 3D from the position, from the perspective of this person, this identity. The person who is happy, she can be confident, she can be calm, she's finally with her person. And she did that. Fast forward a couple of months later. Like I said, it wasn't always easy. She would come back in between our sessions a couple of more times. She would tell me, hey Tamara, this happened. I saw, my SP and 3P on Instagram. They were on vacation. I felt so triggered. What should I do? And I told her, wait a second. What did you tell me last time? Didn't we agree on who you are now? And she said, yes, but what should I do? I asked her, is that your problem? If you know you are in a happy relationship with X, Y, and Z, and you believe you are finally confident, safe, happy, unbothered, does it make sense to this person, to this identity of yours, to feel worried and try to fix a problem with some SP or third party in the 3D? And she said, no, it doesn't. Exactly. None of your business. She went back, she worked on herself. Again, I reminded her of who she was being, who was she supposed to be, what she should be aware of the most, and how to totally disregard her 3D. Fast forward to May, in our last session, a couple of weeks back. She came back to me, all smiling, very happy, and I knew she had some incredible change in the 3D world. I asked her what happened, and she said that even though she was triggered a lot of times, she kept reminding her of who she was being, what her truth is. She really did her best to see everything from the new perspective. So what happened was, and I always say this, guys, I say this to my clients as well as everybody out here, our viewers, the bridge of incidence is none of your business. How 3D is going to show you who you're being is not something you should be worried about either. Not to say that you cannot mess with the middle, as Neville called it, and maybe intend exactly how you want to experience something. You can absolutely do that. But if your main concern is keeping this new identity alive and, paying attention to this new character of yours, new state of being, I don't want you to micromanage every little single thing in a 3D. It's just too much, guys. So if you don't feel like you want to worry about a 3D and you want to let things go, better option, in my opinion, is to focus on you, who you're being, and leave the 3D world alone. So what happened was, this guy and her were going to the same gym. And she said back in November, for all the time being, every time she went to the gym, she would not talk to this guy. He would either completely disregard her, he would ignore, leave early. They had zero communication. Fast forward to a couple of weeks back. She was at the gym. She finished her workout. And guess who is there? It's her SB. SB comes up and starts talking to her. And she told me, Tamara, this guy was not the guy I knew back then. And they had known each other for a while, almost 2 years. This was not the same person. I was shocked by how friendly he was, how loving suddenly he was. And I told her it's because it wasn't the same person. It was a version of the SP who corresponded, who matched your current identity, your current state of being. He was extremely loving, friendly, acted super interesting, and he even told my client, he asked her, why have you been avoiding me? I thought, you like me because I have always liked you. You know that. And my client was legit confused. She said, Tamara, I told you what happened. I thought he was avoiding me. And I said, that's not the same person. That's not the same version of your SP you talked to back in November. When you change yourself, guys, your state of being and how you perceive things, as Neville said, everything and everyone must change to reflect that back to you. The new version, current version of the SP has no idea that she was this person who was timid, had zero self-confidence, that he had any third parties. My client asked him, so what about, the name of the girl and the trip? And he said, I was never into her. What are you talking about? That was a trip with me and a couple of my friends. Like, I've never dated this person in my whole life. And she said, Tamara, I clearly remember her post on Instagram. And I was like, am I crazy? What is happening? And again, I told her, you're not crazy. This is not gaslighting. This is simply 3D showing you the new version of you. Therefore, how he treats her now, his memories, his feelings towards her, his opinions, they're all reflecting her current identity, which is someone who is happy, who is confident, sure, secure in her relationship with this person. Right now, they're dating. They went out on the first date back at a time. And her next goal is to get married to this person. She was like, this is it. I'm ready. I want to get married. And this is something we are currently working on. Creating an identity, focusing on this identity. Who is married to X, Y, and Z? I hope you guys found this story very helpful and useful for you all. By the way, I'm currently having a sale, 25% off. Coupon code is perfect20, and you can see all the details below down in the description box. And I hope you guys like this video, and see you guys next week. Bye.